Uh, yeah, yeah, uh.
Welcome in, everybody. It is Tuesday night, which means one thing and one thing only. It is time for week 12 edition of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet presented by Going for Two Live on YouTube, Twitch, everything. Go like, subscribe, comment, go follow us. We'll get to our names later. But let's get into the cast and the crew. Jordan, it is Tuesday night. I know you're ready because you know I'm ready. But what is up, my man?
Not too much, man. I got some things I need to get off my chest tonight, so I'm ready to talk about.
Yes, and Jamie, what is up? I know you are somewhat on the bench tonight, not feeling great, but you're still here. What is up, my man? And if you need to chill back a little bit, I know me and Jordan can take it. But what is up, my dude?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today. Didn't go to work today. Might not go tomorrow. Hopefully, I feel better about Thanksgiving. But at least the Browns beat the Steelers. That's all that matters. So,
And we'll get to that very shortly. So let's just get straight into it, everyone. Let's get into the news of the day. And let's just start with what I am bringing up about what Jamie just said. The Browns beat the Steelers 13-10. But what else did it bring up, Jamie? We talked about it before Jordan came on because I can tell Jordan's a little confused. It was the nail in the coffin for Mr. Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has been on the chopping block all year. Mike Tomlin came out and said that it was his decision only to finally let Matt Canada go. Jordan, my question to you is, does this help the offense overall, and who does this help the most?
That's a good. I think it'll help because we see time and time again. The Bills were an example. Offensive coordinator fired. They run the ball the most times they ever have, and they have a successful offensive game. I don't know. I can't. I would assume it's going to help Pickett the most because, I mean, he had 40-some yards for the longest time in that game, and I know Cleveland is a good defense, but it was just a pathetic showing for the passing game. Obviously, Jalen Warren looked good, so I'm thinking it's got to help Pickett. They're probably firing Matt Canada because Pickett doesn't look like he's progressed like they would have liked. So I'm thinking this move is to help him, and I'm expecting to see something, particularly this upcoming week, because like I said, right after a coach gets fired, things look a whole lot better. Then they kind of regress back to somewhere in between.
Gator saying, show your pants. Gator saying, Jamie's talking a bunch of BS in our league. That doesn't surprise me one bit. And then Canada in Pittsburgh. Yes, Gator. So, Jamie, what do you think overall about the Canada situation? But then also, does this do anything? There was a video of Deontay Johnson being mad at being held back from one of the coaches and blah blah blah. Does this help Deontay, or is this a neutral for Deontay?
I think it helps them because I noticed that every time someone ends up complaining, they end up coming back doing pretty decent the next game. But yeah, now Canada's gone. I think it's an uptick for everybody, man. Like Warren, maybe they'll play him over Najee now because Najee had no business playing some of those downs that he was playing. But yeah, like Jordan said, Pickett or Pickens, I can see him doing a lot better. I mean, just you got to throw those deep balls, man. He'll catch them.
Yeah, for sure. Personally, I mean, obviously I'm not a Steelers fan, but from all the Steelers fans I know, from our buddy Herms to Raj to other guys I know that are Steelers fans, everyone's excited about this. I do think this is going to be, like you said, Jordan, this is going to be big for Pickett. I do agree with you, Jamie, about Warren. Maybe they start playing Warren more and he's the 60-40 and not Najee on the opportunity. Warren seems to have that extra juice. I hope this gets Deontay Johnson more involved. The other thing is Pat Freiermuth is coming back a little more, so we'll see what happens there. I think this is looking up for Pitt, and this is if they're going to make it to the playoffs, their offense and do something in the playoffs, their offense is going to have to. They're not going to have to be able to just rely on their defense. Another piece of news. Let's do the quick one first. Shaquille Leonard being released by the Colts. Personally, I'm just going to give my take really quick. I think the Colts are messing up. I get why they're doing it, but I think he's going to end up signing somewhere that needs a veteran linebacker that is a contender. Jamie, what do you think really quick? We'll just do this one real quick. And then we'll
I liked him as a player. I got him in a dynasty league that has IDP, so I don't understand why they got rid of him. But he could easily go to another team and just step right in. I know I can't think of the team off the top of my head. They just lost a linebacker. I can't remember. But
Arizona just lost one. Chiefs lost one for a few weeks. Minnesota lost
one. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'd easily step in there, show that veteran presence.
Yeah, Jordan, right before you go, I saw this, so I just want to put this up. I saw this, what Gator's talking about. Even after he got cut by the Indianapolis Colts, Shaq is still passing out turkeys in Indy after getting released. Gator says, yeah, I saw that he was doing this. He had this plan and still did it after he got released. Good for him. He's a good guy. Gator saying the Chargers. Jordan, what do you think real quick?
I was shocked that they got rid of him. I mean, the Colts are still in the hunt to sneak into one of those last few playoff spots. I thought he gave them a chance to win. Obviously, he hadn't quite recovered from all the injuries he had previously, and I guess that was an issue for the Colts. But I could see a contender really jumping on him soon. I mean, like Gator said, he is a stud, and I anticipate he'll get back to that all-pro form he was in before the injuries. I have no idea who's going to sign him, but it'll be somebody where he's going to make an immediate impact.
Yeah, and I wish it was the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to happen, but if that did happen, I'd be doing table dances around the table different than I'm going to be doing a little bit later in my rant. Real quick, down in Jordan's neck of the woods. Yeah, I'm not sure what the savings were, Gator. I did not have a chance to look at that. I will in a minute. Down in Jordan's neck of the woods, real quick. Big deal or no big deal, Jordan? Michael Thomas, IR with a knee injury. What do you think?
That's not a big deal. He hasn't been that productive this year. I mean, he's gotten you about 60 yards, 4 catches, 60 yards, 5 catches, 60 yards. Been consistent with it, but nothing that they can't replace. Him being hurt gives more reps and snaps for A.T. Perry. Caught a touchdown last week. Rashid Shaheed, more targets for him, explosive plays. Chris Olave, unquestioned number 1 guy. So they're younger, more explosive without him on the field. And I think that just gives those young guys a chance to show what they have. I don't think they're going to miss much with him being out.
Yeah, Jamie, what do you think?
Same thing. I just think it's going to help the other receivers like A.T. Perry. Definitely Olave, man. He needs to get some more targets there. So wheels up for the other guys.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and then the next piece of news I want to dive into just a little bit. Does Sean McVay have it out for Darrell Henderson? Because he brings him back, then he gets released. So Darrell Henderson released today on the same day that we find out that Kyron Williams is going to be back in week 12. I'm going to start with you, Jamie. What do you think about Darrell Henderson being cut? And what do you think about Kyron's fantasy outlook the last 5 weeks of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I never really liked Kyron, but he does get to work, so you have to play him. Obviously, McVay loves him, hates every other single running back in that running back room. I can see Darrell Henderson maybe going somewhere else. Like, who needs a running back right now? Minnesota Vikings that just lost Akers.
Of course.
Think about it. It'll just recycle through.
What is this, a freaking LA factory?
Yeah, but no, I liked Henderson, man. He was doing pretty decent, so I don't know why they just don't keep him.
Yeah, Jordan, what do you think about Henderson being cut and Kyron?
Kyron coming back, obviously that means they're going to go right back to him as the guy. I felt like Henderson filled in pretty well. I don't understand why he got cut. I mean, he was more productive than Royce Freeman. They trusted him more than Freeman. I thought Freeman would have been the guy to get cut, but I mean, he can land somewhere, possibly get a chance to play. I mean, there's plenty of places that need running back, so I could see him getting on somebody's practice squad first and then being elevated and being able to produce. Like Jamie said, Minnesota's always that place when Madison's the number one guy, so that's always an option.
Hey, I don't want to bring it up because it hurts my heart to the soul because I made a trade on Tuesday for a certain running back, but he could be in green and gold, Jordan.
I don't know. The guy in green and gold, I can't discuss him anymore. But.
I know I just traded for him and then he goes and gets hurt.
I'm done.
Okay, we got a question for Jamie really quick. What is in the water in Ohio, Jamie? No quarterbacks.
I mean, when was the last time we had a quarterback? In the 90s? So, not really surprised, but I don't know what's in the water, man.
Is Browning or DTR fantasy viable? Jamie,
DTR.
Yes, no, which one?
I want to say no, but DTR maybe with the rushing, he can get you some, but I don't know, man. Like Brissett wasn't even really startable, getting you like that 12 points a game, right?
Put that, timestamp it. He said Brissett was not fantasy viable. Timestamp.
Brissett was more of like the quarterback that helped you like game manage. Like DTR, I don't even think he's going to be starting because they're bringing in Joe Flacco. Who knows?
This week, I don't think Flacco's starting this week. Jordan, is either one of them viable? Yes or no?
Like Jamie said, I think DTR is with rushing upside. However, we haven't seen much from Jake Browning, but when you have the weapons that he has, he can have a boom performance here or there. I mean, Danny DeVito's grandson just had 30-plus fantasy points on the Commanders. So, I mean, I would take a chance on Browning with Jamar Chase he's throwing to, possibly T. Higgins coming back. I mean, both of those guys could have a game or two where you feel like, okay, you give 20-something fantasy points. I could see it happening for both of them.
Yeah. And we'll get into the grandson of the Jersey Mike sandwich man a little bit later. This is great. I'm sorry. Right before we get into fantasy, right before we get into Monday Night Football takes, we have the quote of the day. Jamie backtracking faster than Michael Jackson moonwalks. All right. So, and I appreciate that, Gator.
So do I.
All right, so let's get into it. Monday Night Football takeaways. The Philadelphia Eagles, 21. The Kansas City Chiefs, 17. Okay, fine. I'll act normal. Eagles 21 going into Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs in the rain. Jordan, what is your takeaway, my man? We know that defenses are not usually the case on both these teams sometimes, but what do you have to say?
For the first time in about 6 years, in the Mahomes era, I think it's been about 6 years.
6, 7.
Yeah, the defense is the stronger unit, and last night solidified that for me. I mean, I kind of knew it with the way that they had played leading up to this game, but I always was just waiting for the offense to get it in gear. But I just don't I don't see that happening. I know it was raining last night, so that could be a factor. But this defense, man, in all important categories, yards, points, sacks, even they're top 5. Um, and that's an elite defense, championship defense. Sacked Jalen Hurts 5 times in the first half last night. They were all over the place. That like I was hesitant to put them in that elite level for this season, but they're up there for sure. Last night kind of cemented that for me, but it's just the receiving options is the downfall, and I don't want to get too much into it, but the receiving options prove to be the obvious downfall. Mahomes doesn't look he doesn't look how we expected him to look. Not terrible, but just not Michael Jordan. So therefore, if he isn't Michael Jordan with the way these pass catchers are, it's going to be hard for them to win. Haven't been able to score in the second half of the last 3 games, so that's been problematic. I still
We'll get into
yeah,
that.
a couple of times they should have took the points when they had opportunities, but another story for another day. But yeah, basically, man, what I got from last night is that defense, elite championship level defense, offense needs to step it up.
Jamie, what do you think about, without getting into the offensive stuff for obvious reasons coming up, what do you think about the Chiefs defense in general? And more importantly, I'm going to ask you specifically so I don't have to dive too far into it. What do you think about Chris Jones last night, buddy?
Yeah, the defense, man. I mean, they've been stepping it up a lot because they used to be horrible against receivers, right? And this year, I mean, they've been pretty decent all year long for like the receiver cores that they're going against. And yeah, what was the other question?
What do you think about Chris Jones attacking that offensive line?
Oh, yeah. I mean, can't stop him, man. Like, I'm trying to look up a stat I saw, but
Yeah,
I can't find it. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead,
I
Mike.
mean, they had what? How many sacks did they have? How many sacks did they have in the first half, Jordan?
5.
Five.
in-
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was looking up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Five in
So
the-
I'm gonna add this real quick. Chris Jones is a beast, but they are doing this with. I just need to reiterate, they're doing this without freaking Bolton as the middle linebacker who is still on the IR with a broken wrist. This team, Jordan, you are 100% right. This defense is showing up. Snead is coming up. McDuff is still proving it. McDuffie is coming out and proving what I was afraid that he was going to. I needed to see it. Gator, McDuffie coming from Washington, but Gator had mentioned to me before, give him time. He'll be fine. Gator's right. He's coming out tough. The safeties are showing up. Gator says, remember a few short years ago, Chiefs went to Tampa and put it on him. Come Super Bowl, KC had no shot. So he's talking about the Eagles coming to Arrowhead. So we'll see about that. They are showing up. There was a wide receiver that they somewhat shut down. Jamie, who is it and what is the problem?
Yeah, AJ Brown, man, screwed me last night. A couple leagues.
We know why you put him on the show sheet.
Yeah, so I mean, he has the worst game of his season. Like, he's been getting 20, 30 points almost every single week all year long, and then he puts up 1.8 points. Like, unbelievable, man. Like, that league that Gator was talking about, all I needed was, I think I lost by 10, but then we also played the median. I lost to the median by 2 points. So, like, I thought I had that locked down. So now instead of being in second place, I'm in third place in that league. Just Gator, keep losing because I think I have your second round pick. I need it to be early. but yeah, I actually won every single one of my leagues except for 2 leagues. So I'm in like 25, 30 leagues. Every single one I won. Both leagues I lost was because of AJ Brown. And all I needed was like the 10 points in the one, and I needed 7 more points in another.
Oh, geez.
So, yep. Yeah, I'm mad at him. Yeah. I'm gonna throw him on my bench. I'm gonna rage drop him. No.
That wouldn't surprise me with you. Jordan, what do you think?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, PFF had Snead and McDuffie as the two best corners. Like the Chiefs had the two best corners grade wise in the league. So it's not surprising. They did something similar to Tariq Hill before the bye. They've played the Jags. They did it with Ridley there. So this wasn't a surprise to me. And then the rain. I mean, both teams were kind of hesitant to pull the trigger with some passing plays, so that kind of was a hindrance as well. But overall, I mean, if Jalen Hurts is getting sacked and it's raining, and the corners are good, it's going to lead to low production. So obviously, we're not worried about AJ Brown at all, but he definitely screwed you last night.
Yeah, I'm not worried about AJ. I think it was just an off game. Gator, I do see your comment, but I'm going to save that for a little bit later in the show for some, let's just say, motivation. I agree with you. I mean, I'm sorry, Jamie. He did screw you, but I don't think it's a big. I don't think it's a worry. Spoiler alert: no one is calling him a fake on our show tonight.
Right,
That is not what we're doing. No one's calling or
real.
real. Yeah, no one's saying he's a real. That he's going downhill. This is a blip on the radar. Don't worry about it. All right, so now it is time for my take of the week. I don't have a take for this game. I really do. However, I am saving it for later. Stay watching. During my special segment later, I will discuss more into this. The only thing I will say is at 7-3, our schedule does not get easy. I mean, we do play the Packers, but that's another story.
Bro.
We just need, but we do play a couple. We do play some decent teams. We play the Raiders twice. Not saying they're decent, but it is a division game. We play the Raiders twice. We still play Cincy. I know they don't have Burrow anymore, and we still play Buffalo. So I really wanted this win, but I will get into the reasons I wanted this more about what I thought about the loss. So let's get into the next segment, and it is time for Real or Fake. Jordan, who's your real, buddy?
This was somebody that, similar to Jamie, I actually followed through after last year. Like Spike dropped him in a couple of leagues, but Cortland Sutton, man. I mean, he was like definition, I guess, of like a guy post hype who actually lived up to some production. Because last year I was all in. I was all in on him and Russ getting that connection, but it didn't work out last year, as we all know. This year, touchdown in 5 straight games. He looks like Russ's favorite target when Russ is actually allowed to throw the ball, because, I mean, obviously they've kind of taken the ball out of Russ's hands a little bit. When Sutton gets the targets, he's producing. He's been producing a lot lately. When they need a play like they did this past week, they went to him. He came through for them. So, yeah, I think this is something that we can – now that the Broncos are developing a win streak, they've won 4 in a row, some impressive wins over some good teams. They're going to keep going to Sutton. Looks like Judy is kind of sometimes non-existent. Sutton is the guy. And yeah, I think this is something we can see being consistent moving forward, as long as they, as long as he's healthy and they continue to put the ball in the air.
All right, so I'm going to take this one. I believed in Sutton a little bit in the beginning of the year. I had Sutton in a couple. I had Judy in a couple. There's always this argument about, everyone says, "Oh, who's your guy in Denver? Are you a Denver? Are you a Sutton guy, or are you a Judy guy, or whatever?" 2 weeks ago, because Gators in the chat, I'll say it. I needed freaking Sutton to go off, and I lost to Gator by like 5 points, jerk. And I was on air with him, so it made it even worse. That was in Paulie's playoff. But Sutton is coming back to form. Like you said, he's had a touchdown, like you said, in what, 5 straight, and then 7 out of 8 or something like that. In half-point PPR, the last 2 weeks he's been WR14. Yes, in week 8 against the Chiefs, he was WR40, but in week 7 against a team not to be named, he was wide receiver 8. So, I mean, he's got 27, 47, 14, 33, 83. That was against the Jets when he was being guarded by Sauce a lot of the time. 22, 8, 40, 14, and 14. He's ramping up into shape, in my opinion. In week 10 against Buffalo, he had 11 targets, 8 catches. This week, he had 4 for 5 and a touchdown. I am 100% on your side with this. I think that Russ and Sean Payton are falling in love with him and not Judy. So I think this is going to be the Sutton show for the rest of the season in the passing game. And Denver's not looking bad, and they're going to ruin people's parties. And for all we know, if other teams suck it up, stink it up, they could end up at the end. Not saying they're going to make it to the playoffs, but at the end of the year, they could be looking to make it interesting for other teams. But Jordan, who is your fake? I know we teased it without teasing it early, but I'm gonna while you're talking about this, and Jamie's gonna mention it after you. I'm gonna go get a Jersey Mike sandwich number 7.
So basically, it's gonna be short. Tommy DeVito is my fake. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, when they saw the Giants playing the Commanders, ran out and got the Commanders defense. He still got sacked 9 times. It's just he found a way to throw some touchdowns. He threw some to Saquon, and Saquon made some good plays on him. And I just don't see this continuing. Their offensive line is shot to hell. There's going to be plenty of other games where he gets sacked a bunch. He's just not really that good. He's still, inexperienced. So, yeah, it's not something we can count on moving forward. He's still not a serviceable quarterback or anybody you want to go run to pick up. He can stay on the waiver wire.
So, Jamie, what do you think about Mr. Danny DeVito's lost great grandson?
Yeah, I know he's nothing special. Like, if you look at his last games, he had between 10, 15 fantasy points. That's what you're going to get out of him. You ain't going to get a big 30-point game at all from him. Again, that was just pure luck. So, yeah, I actually started him in one league that I'm in with Gator, and he actually helped me kind of hopefully win that game. But, A.J. Brown kind of screwed me there. But, yeah, I don't think I ever want to start him ever again, even with this 30-point game.
That was the fantasy guys evening it all out. There's no way in hell Tommy DeVito should lead you to a win. So they was like,
well, I had like Olave on by Pittman.
No, that's why AJ Brown. You ruined it for everybody else. You put. All right, so Jamie, who is your real player of the week or players?
I'm looking at the Lions running backs, the duo, man, because all week I kept getting questions. Who do I start? Do I start Monty or Gibbs? I'm like, start them both. Like, you can't go wrong starting them both. I know Monty had more carries. They both got the touchdown. Gibbs is used in the passing game more. So I actually see Gibbs being more of the low end wide receiver running back 1. And then Monty can be in that mid to high RB2 every week. So if you have them, I have them on are going for 2 staff team, and I start them both every week. And I only have to start one running back, but I put them both in. I always put Monty in my flex, Gibbs in my RB1, and I mean they're going to be top 15 to 20 both. You can't go wrong, man. High powered offense, great offensive line. Both have touchdown upside. So, yeah, start them both if you got them.
Jordan?
Yeah, I agree, man. Speaking of people who got screwed over, I had David Montgomery on the bench because I sipped the Kool-Aid and started Achane, and I lost by 1 point. And, obviously – Achane scored 2 points. Montgomery had 17. So, but yeah, definitely start both of them. They have touchdown upside, but it's in different ways. Like you see Gibbs, the explosive touchdowns, long plays. Montgomery, if they're in the red zone inside the 5, is him. He's going to likely score it. That's going to happen with the way that the Lions offense is. Definitely wish I had both of them on the team because I start them both every week. You can't really go wrong. But yeah, they're basically matchup proof with the way that the offensive line is. You don't have to worry about it. And Gibbs now at first they were using him strictly in the passing game, but now when Montgomery was out, he showed that he can carry a little workload. He was explosive in his runs, and now he's eating into the rushing work as well. So he has more upside than Montgomery, but you can definitely play both of them and be happy with the results.
All right. So, Jamie. Yes, I'm staring right at you. This guy has been a conversation on this show, backstage, front stage, however you want to call it, probably since April or May. I don't know exactly where you're going with this, but as soon as I saw his name on the show sheet, I put my name next to it without even looking at who your real was. So let's go. I want to know where we're going with this one this time.
All right, so Christian Kirk, fake performance of the week. He had less than 10 points, I think, for the second time, maybe. He had 7.8 PPR points. At least he didn't get a 0, man. Because I had him starting in a lot of places, and you'd always rather see that floor of like a 7-8 points rather than that big fat 0. You can't blow up every game. Ridley, good job. Kudos to Ridley, man. Like, he deserved this huge game, and that's what took away from Christian Kirk. But I think they'll both bounce each other out a little bit going forward, like kind of just like the Lions running backs. They're both startable. They're both going to be in that wide receiver 2 range every week. Hopefully they both kind of get about 15 points each instead of one getting 30, the other getting. And so, but yeah, I just want to say kudos to Calvin Ridley, man. He definitely deserved that big game. But Christian Kirk, don't go throwing him on your bench. He's still going to be Christian Kirk. He's going to get you about 15 fantasy points each week. So that'll probably be like the wide receiver 2 range, low end. I think he's 23 on the year, 24.
I'll get into that. Finish your take, and then I'll throw that.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So this week he was WR 46. The other week that you mentioned, so he has 3 weeks he had this week at 7.8. This is in half point. He had 7.8. He had 8.6 against Pittsburgh, and he only had 1.9 points
week 1
week 1 against Indy. So in half point PPR, he's in the last. I'm going to skip week 1 because obviously it's week 1. We always say week 1 sample size. Like, let's get that out. I'm not worried about week 1. I'm just going to list his weeks: 13, 26, 16, 21, 27, 9, 56, bye week, 23, 46. I agree with you, but I disagree with you. I do think that Ridley is an anomaly. Yes, I'm taking the L on Ridley being a top dog. You guys both know this. I thought I was all on Team Ridley. You were on Team. Yeah, me. So that's why, for everyone that doesn't know, that's why I brought it up. Jamie was all offseason was Team Kirk. I was Team Ridley. But the thing that I think is going to limit him a tiny bit, I think having Zay Jones on the field is actually a detriment to Kirk and not Ridley.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing that holds me back. I'm not saying he's not. I definitely agree that he's not going to be this low in the future. I just don't know where, like you were saying, his 15 to 16 points per game the last month and a half. I don't know where that goes. I don't know if that goes down to 12 to 14 and ends up being in that WR3 range on a norm, or if it stays there. I hope it stays there. I'm just don't know for sure.
Yeah, it's all about Lawrence, though, because, I mean, if Lawrence could step up,
I mean, he had his first game over 20 points this season.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if he gets going, I mean, all three of those receivers can kind of be in your lineup.
Yeah. So let me pull this up real quick because I got to Kirk's. I had my guy up, and then I pulled Kirk's stats real quick. So let me just pull this guy up. So my real player of the week, and I want to see. Okay, I want to make sure I have the camera on. Is Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. He was RB30 with 7.3 points in half-point PPR. No, I am not saying he stinks. No, I am not saying he's going to be only 7 to 8, 9 points a game. How I am taking this real, I'm not saying he's real bad. I'm saying you can't count on him. He's real inconsistent. That's the problem and why I'm saying that it's real is RB30. Last week was RB5. The week before was then bye week. His performance before that was RB9. But then it was 20, 30, and working backwards, 20, 32, 50, 27. That's when they started working him more into the game. The 50 was when he only had 2 attempts, 27, 30, 29 in week 1. People were thinking that he's going to, he had RB32 in week 6. Then he was RB32 against the Chiefs in week 6. Then he was RB20 against your Packers, Jordan. But then he was RB9 against my Chiefs again in week 8. When he had that big jump, people were thinking, oh, we're going to get the Javonte that we all thought he was going to be coming out of North Carolina, blah, blah, blah. I have him on plenty of teams. I just think he's going to be inconsistent, and you can't count on him week in and week out. And when you do put him in your lineup, you just got to understand that you can have a huge ceiling, but you can also have a small floor. Jordan, what do you think about Javonte?
Yeah, I agree 100%. But that I think he's just more a product of
The offense.
The offense. Yeah, the offense as a whole. I mean, they're obviously as the season has gotten on, they've started to rely on him more. The Jaleel McLaughlin touches have kind of lessened. Samaje P. Ryan is only like used in the 2-minute drill essentially. So like he is the guy. And going into the season in the first couple of weeks, there was a lot of splitting going on. So like we were kind of worried about that, but he's kind of gotten rid of all of that. But definitely think the Broncos are winning, but I wouldn't say their offense has looked great. So they've actually mostly been winning because of their defense isn't giving up 70 points anymore. So like Javonte will be inconsistent because that offensive line still isn't great. So their offense is inconsistent as well. So he only going to go as far as that their offensive line can go. And so it'll depend on the matchup, and it'll depend on how much work he gets.
Yeah, and that's the problem with it. That's the problem with guys like at this point of the fantasy season, like there's some leagues that we're all going to be like head over heels and we've got 3 to 4 losses, but there's matches where we need to win or we need to get into the playoffs. Hint, hint. Some of my teams, those are not the weeks that you can afford to have this. Oh, I'm going to play with Javonte, and I just have to sit there on my hands and just hoping that he scores 15, 20 points. So my fake is a wide receiver from Buffalo. And no, it's not Gabe Davis this week. It's Khalil Shakir. Yes, I like Khalil Shakir, but hear me out. Week 1, didn't play. Week 1, 0 points. Week 3, 1.5 points. Not even a rank on Sleeper's half-point PPR. They didn't even give him the WR rank for the week. Week 2, WR 61. Week 3, WR 111. Week 5, 88. 6, 87. We're moving up. Week 7, 50. Then 25, 33, 75. Oh, no, he has a big breakout game. He's WR9. I've seen it a couple times on X. He's WR9. He's going to surpass Gay, blah, blah, blah. 3 catches on 4 targets for 115 yards. Breaking tackles, horrible tackling, touchdown, 100, and then got a touchdown on that play. Yards per attempt, 28.75 yards per touch. 115 yards, 154 targets, 3 catches. Jamie, I don't think this is sustainable. 115 yards, WR9. He's going to have like 7 catches to get WR9 next time. What the heck are these people saying that Shakir, this is all about buying Shakir, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no.
I've seen it in the Dynasty community. That's one reason I wanted you to do this. I know you're in the Dynasty community. Don't go and buy Shakir, am I wrong?
No, you're completely right, man. When I was doing my research on this game, I actually had Kincaid going off because he plays the slot about 45% of the time.
Yep.
But when I looked at the research, the Jets allowed the least amount of points to the slot receiver, but the slot receiver, not tight end. So that's why I thought he was going to have a big game. Because what struck me weird is I was listening to JJ Zacharyson, and he said the Jets allow like the 4th most targets to the slot. But then when I put that together with the least amount of fantasy points to the receiver, that just didn't make sense. So that's why I thought Kincaid was going to have a big game. I didn't think Shakir was going to do anything because I believe it was only like 5.7 points a week to the slot that the Jets allowed. And he goes up 20 points. So it's an anomaly. He got lucky. I don't see it happening ever again. I would sell him if you had him.
Yeah.
Go out there and sell him, man. And I would even take a third for him, man. That's just how I don't think he's going to be much anything.
All right. So it is time for the next segment. But before we get to the next segment, I got to give Jamie an applause. He talked about Dalton Kincaid without using the words athletic profile. I am proud of you. All right. So it is time for host choice. Jordan, you kind of mentioned about one player that I think you're going to bring up, and that was Devon Achane. What is your topic, and why do you want to bring him up in this topic?
So it's just watching. It all started on Thursday night.
Yes, it did.
Like the injury, and I mean, it's nothing we really can do about it, but just complain essentially. But it's just when guys get hurt so early in the game, and it just derails your matchup. Like for the Joe Burrow owners, he throws a touchdown. We don't even know what the hell's going on. He's grabbing his wrist. Now he's out for the season. He leaves that game, so then you're done at quarterback. Mark Andrews catches a pass in the red zone. He goes down. Now you don't have your tight end. Devon Achane gets hurt after one stinking carry. Aaron Jones leaves the game early as well. It's just so frustrating. I know obviously fantasy is the last thing on these guys' minds. They're worried about getting healthy. But for us who invest the time in it, it's just very frustrating to see. Like, if you're going to get hurt, this is always what I say, if you're going to get hurt, at least give me a touchdown or two get hurt in the fourth quarter as opposed to, early on in the first half. But that was just disappointing. It happened a lot more last week than I remember in recent.
Yeah, it's definitely. Jamie, do you have any comments or thoughts about this topic with your players or in general?
I mean, just with Achane, man, I was telling people with confidence, if he's on that field, he's going to be in your lineup. And
I think we all did. I think we all did.
And it's like, I look like an idiot, but I mean, you can't fault me because injuries happen, man. Like if it was a game where he played all game and he only got the 1.5 points, that's a little different. But yeah,
And I don't even know what's better, if he would have played the whole game and had the 1 point, or just the fact that he had one carry after missing 4 weeks. Like that was the more disheartening thing. Like he spent this time on IR. We thought he was 100% healthy. He gets one carry, gets hit in the knee, and now we don't know when he's gonna come back.
yeah. I mean, I had him in my IR. I have him in one dynasty league, and my team was set, so I kept him in my IR. So it looks like I don't even have to move him back.
Exactly.
All right. So for my comment on this, I am going to talk about a trade. I'm not going to give you my opinion. Jamie, you were aware of this trade. You were not aware that I actually made the deal, but you were in the discussion of this trade talks last week. And you might not even remember, but you're going to go, oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, shit. So there was a trade that I was almost going to give up a pick and Josh Downs for a couple players. And I'll get into the players in a sec. I hit Jamie up. Jamie's like, if you're content, I'm in the hunt. I know once I made the deal, I was going into this week, I was tied with the guy. There was 3 of us tied for 6th place. I was technically in 7th, but I was tied with 2 guys, 5th and 6th. But I was playing the guy in 6th place, so I was really trying to get into it, right, Jordan? If I could beat this guy and jump into the playoffs, I knew once I made it in the playoffs, I had the team that I can do something with. I have Dak. I got some pieces that I can do something with. So Jamie said, yeah, you could trade Downs. I'm like, I don't want to, but the guy that's trading wants Downs, has A-Rich. He has a really good team. He just got hit with the injury bug. He had A-Rich, he had Burrow, he had some stuff. So I made the trade. However, I got him to go, Jamie, down to JMO. So I traded Jameson Williams and kept Downs.
Nice. I like that better.
Yeah, the players were Aaron Jones and Cooper Kupp.
Oh no, I remember that now. Oh no.
So here's the good and here's the bad. I traded away and got back Cooper Kupp and Aaron Jones. Like Jordan said, Aaron Jones goes out. I'm like, okay, he had a good run. Oh, crap, he's not good enough. Okay. Then Cooper Kupp goes and gets a couple catches, and then, oh, great, that's Cooper Kupp limping off the field. I'm in a bunch of leagues, not as many as Jamie, but I'm in a bunch of leagues. So for people listening, I do not look at the scores from the time I set my lineups on Saturday night or Sunday morning till Monday to see what I need on Monday night. I do not look at I can't because otherwise I'd be just, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. I just don't do it. Especially on Sleeper, because with Sleeper, how many leagues I'm in on Sleeper, I can't. Like, I'll be just going. So I didn't know what was up. I just assumed Jones is out. Freaking Kupp's out. So-and-so had a bad week. I just had this feeling I was done. I ended up winning, and I ended up beating the median by 5 points in that league. I moved up to 5th from 7th. And still now I got to figure out this Jones Cooper Kupp thing, and hopefully they can come back in week 14. Like, yes, Jones isn't playing this week. I'm okay. Like, that's going to have to be okay. I got Monty. Like, that's going to have to be okay. Jones isn't going to be able to play. That's fine. But I understand your point, Jordan, that it just drives you nuts when, they're go, and then 2 drives in and your player's already out. And then the guy maybe didn't even score a lot of points, but he scored 2 more points than your guy because he at least played 3 quarters.
Exactly.
So you can't guarantee you can't guarantee points because of injuries or whatever. And Vegas knows that. So Jamie, what is your betting Tip of the week, buddy.
I'm gonna have some fun with this going to Thursday games. Keep it simple.
Of course
I'm
you
just
are.
I'm gonna parlay all three winners. So I got the Lions beating the Packers. Sorry, Jordan.
No, I'm with you.
And then the Cowboys, I got beating Washington, and then the 49ers beating the Seahawks. So I just parlayed the money lines, kept it simple. It's at minus 101. So I bet $10 to win 1993. Yeah, so almost double your money.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about this real quick. I mean, I don't think even though Jordan, Kyle's in here too, even though Jordan's a Green Bay fan, Lions, it's at home. I think the Lions are going to pull it off. Let's talk about fantasy real quick. I know we're talking about the betting and the money line. It's going to happen in the second game. But if the Giants, we talked about Danny DeVito's grandson. If the Giants and Barkley had a good game, DeVito had a good game, Slayton had a touchdown before he got hurt. If that offense can do what they did to Washington, Dak, Ferguson, Jordan's boy, Tony, touchdown last week, Pollard, and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Is that Cowboys team not going to eat and eat and eat turkey all day before they even go eat turkey?
Yeah, I see that happen.
And then in the night game,
I see that.
Niners are going to win, but there's something telling me that it's going to be closer than we all expect. But I agree with you on your bet. Jordan, what do you think about the bet?
Oh, I'm with you 100%. Money line for all three of them. Definite wins. Well, the last time we picked the Packers and Lions, it was in Lambeau, and I thought, oh yeah, we got a chance. They ain't got a chance in hell of beating them in Detroit. So that's over with. And with the 49ers and the Seahawks, Geno got hurt. I know he came back on the last drive, but he looked shaken up. I mean, if Drew Lock is playing, that might get ugly. And I know Ken Walker isn't going to play, so that gives Charbonnet a chance. But I still think the Niners win now.
All right, and I completely agree.
So there's some unfinished business on one team that we talked about earlier. They don't play on Thanksgiving, however. But I think this is something that Kansas City radio station should record and then play tomorrow for the drive time shows. Mike, let's hear it. I've been waiting for it. The rant of the week, not just about last night, I assume. It's about the whole season leading up to this point.
Oh yeah, it's gonna start tomorrow. It's gonna start about last night, and it might end about freaking 6 months ago. All right, so Patrick Mahomes, you're a great guy. You went on your freaking press conference after the game, and you took all the responsibility. You said it wasn't about your wide receivers catching the ball. It wasn't about this. It wasn't about that. I'm glad you were humble, and I'm glad you're a great teammate. Because I ain't. Freaking Kansas City wide receivers. Catch the damn ball. Yes, I'm talking to you, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I understand that it was a long pass. I understand that you were diving for the ball, but your hands were on it. There was a side angle that he literally had it cupped in his hands.
Yeah.
I would never let you hold my baby. Okay? You're going to drop him. Okay? I like MVS, Kyle. I do. However, do not let this kid hold a baby or a turkey. He's going to drop it. Okay? Justin Watson. I apologize to all Packers fans. Justin Watson. I have an issue here. One, a football is not this wide, okay? On 4th and 20-something, I understand that it's almost impossible. But you jumped, yes, but the ball is not that wide, okay? Here's my problem with Justin Watson. And this is where I start to get unhinged. Justin Watson, it's not your fault. You should not have 11 targets. I'm sorry. You're a good wide receiver. You don't deserve 11 targets. You deserve 5 catches on 6 targets. You don't deserve 5 catches on 11 targets. Okay? You got freaking Sky Moore. You got freaking Watson. You got MVS. You got Kadarius. I can't stay healthy, Tony. Yes, I'm still calling him that. Yes, he did well last night on the punt return. He had that great punt. He had a good punt return. He had a couple good plays. None of these guys are WR1s, and none of them are proving that they're WR2s. Okay, so you have a bunch of WR3s. Hardman comes back after being a stinker in New York, comes back, and he gets hurt. You got freaking Mahomes, who, like you mentioned, he's a great quarterback, but if he doesn't have the weapons, someone at work said, "Oh, the Chiefs need to spend on a wide receiver. They've done it before," and they brought up Tyreek. No, we didn't pay Tyreek. We let him walk. Okay, you had a chance to get DeAndre Hopkins. You didn't do that. And when you do draft a wide receiver, his name is Sky freaking Moore. I'm sorry. T-Rex Arms does not deserve to be the number 1 run wide receiver on the team. But like you mentioned, Jordan, my rant isn't about last night. That's the yes, it is. However, this runs a lot deeper. I'm glad you stopped where you stopped in your take earlier tonight. But I want you to repeat one stat for me, because I don't remember the exact number. How many games in a row have they not scored in the second half?
3.
Okay, here is where I go. This is where I start to get irritated.
Yeah.
Who are some of the worst offenses in the NFL, boys?
The Panthers, the Jets,
Steelers. They just fired their OC.
yeah, Steelers.
Okay.
Put the Browns in there now.
Okay, that's fine. Well, but yeah, I'm not putting the Browns in there for this topic, but you'll understand where I'm going, Jamie. For the year, yes, the Chiefs have scored they had a pick 6, but for offensive points, do you know where I'm going with this, Jordan?
Yeah, I think so.
For offensive points, Jamie, in the second half of games, the Chiefs are ranked 32. How many teams are in the league?
Oh, jeez.
They have scored
30.
the least amount of offensive points in second half of the entire game. At halftime, it was 17-7 last night, or 17 whatever. What was the final score? We had 17 points. Same thing with the Miami Dolphins game. And we scored in the second. We scored because of the defense. You need to score in the second half. That used to be your motto. We used to come out slow and then put the metal to the grind. Chiefs, this hurts me to say it, if we do not start scoring in the second half, we're not getting past the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs. I'm sorry. That's the team I am worried about when it comes to the playoffs, is the way they play the game, the way they can slow down the game with Lamar, the way they can slow down the game with Gus Edwards. Freaking Eric Bieniemy being gone in Washington might be hurting us more than we realize. And Andy Reid, get your head out of the Chinese menu. Stop looking at the freaking Grubhub and Uber Eats and get Patrick Mahomes and that team into the goddamn end zone. The other problem, we talked about MVS dropping that ball. We talked about Christian Watson being this far away. The Chiefs lead the league this year in drop passes with 26. Okay? 26 drop passes. I don't know what the problem is. You get paid to do what as a wide receiver? Catch the damn ball. You're not an offensive lineman. You don't get paid to block. Yes, you need to block. But please catch the ball. I give Travis Kelce credit for coming out last night when they mentioned in the press conference about Marquez dropping the ball, and he says, "Hey, I shouldn't have fumbled it in the red zone." I give you credit. But hold on to the goddamn ball and stop worrying about who's in freaking Brazil. Get ready for a concert, Travis. Okay? She wasn't at the game. Stop worrying about her instead of holding on to the ball. Worry about the ball. Don't worry about Taylor Swifty and freaking her changing the lyrics to her songs because you're in the stands. I am honestly starting to get worried about the Chiefs this year. The Chiefs need to do something. Put this on Kansas City media. Let this get into the TVs of Kansas City Chiefs headquarters. Come on, Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom needs this to change. Let's go, Chiefs.
Well done. Excuse me. I agree with all of it. The receivers have been a weak link, and then they have a rookie who seems like the best of the bunch, and they
I
don't
forgot
use him
about that.
as much.
Can you just go off of that? Because I forgot about that.
And, like, he has been the most productive wide receiver, obviously outside of Kelsey, and it just seems like at times he'll make plays and then he'll disappear. I don't know.
He
if
was Kyle.
Doesn't.
He was dropping balls, and he dropped 2 balls last night.
And it's like, I don't know if he just doesn't know all the plays yet. I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, he isn't playing as much as you would like. Justin Watson, like you said, should never be the leading target getter on that team. So, I mean, shout out to him. Obviously, Mahomes trusts him, but that shouldn't be a situation where you make a trade for Tony. You use draft capital on Sky Moore. You use draft capital on Rashee Rice. You traded to get Hardman back, and Justin Watson is the leading target getter, and something's wrong with that. And something needs to be fixed. I don't know how you can fix somebody catching the ball, but they got to work something out there.
Jamie, what do you think about this situation?
I was just disappointed in Kelsey last night. I know he had, 15 fantasy points, but in half PPR, he only had, 11? I needed him to get 14.8 half PPR points for my silly string challenge bet. So you will be seeing me getting silly stringed again because of Travis Kelsey, man.
This is about Chiefs playoff chances, not your damn silly string.
I just wanted to bring it up, man. But,
I know, I'm just giving you shit.
But no, the Chiefs, man, I didn't even think they were going to go to the Super Bowl this year.
But all I'm saying is, even if you didn't think it, there's no chance. There's no chance if this doesn't change.
Yeah, they're definitely showing their hand, and they need to fix something.
I think I'm not really worried about their chances to make it there as much in the AFC because with Burrow going down, the Bills looking like a mess, Mark Andrews getting hurt. I think every team has some wart in the AFC particularly that they can get over. Mahomes is the best player in the league, so I think he can make up for this. They just need average production from the receivers with that way that defense is playing, and they can find ways to get that. I mean, you just play the best guys more. And I noticed that they aren't playing 7 guys in the receiver corps like they were at the beginning of the year, trying to use it as a tryout to see who they wanted to go with. But Rice needs to play more. You get it in Tony's hands. You get it in Rice, and you hope Valdez-Scantling can catch a deep ball. And for the most part, I would say if he got another chance, he would make the play. But I believe in Mahomes and Andy Reid, so I think that they'll get it corrected. It won't be like we were used to, but it'll be enough to win a lot of games and be one of the last teams standing in the end.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so before we get into our cheat of the week and our waiver wire, it is time to pay some bills, and it is time for Jamie to have his little side job I give him every week. All right. Today's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check out their industry-leading best ball leagues with huge tournaments, private leagues, and pick'ems in every major sport. Sign up with our promo code GF2 in capital letters, GF2, and get your deposit match up to $100. It's simple as that. Use the promo code, and you can start drafting your best ball teams. Yes, best ball is for the season, but like Jamie has mentioned, they got weekly Snake. They got weekly higher lower picks, so you can do a draft every week separately from the year long. And then when the off season comes in March or April, go join the league with Jamie. He's probably in about 3 at a time in the whole month of March, April, and May. All right, it's time for waiver wires. There's been injuries, no bye weeks this week, so a lot of the players are either deeper or injury replacement kind of guys because let's be real, Fab's starting to run low, playoffs are getting near, waiver wires isn't as easy as it was week 2, 3, 4. Jordan, I know you got a couple you want to bring up really quick. Go ahead, my man.
Yeah, this is all injury related. Obviously, with Devon Achan getting hurt and Savon Ahmed being put on IR, that brings Jeff Wilson back into the mix for Miami. He's somebody that you can go and pick up. I know a lot of people dropped him because he didn't do anything when he came back from his injury stint. But with the Dolphins' backfield in flux, it's worth a chance picking him up, and maybe even Chris Brooks. Who knows if they decide to bring him up, the young guy with the injuries as well. So that's a possibility. And then the other one is Zach Charbonnet. I know going into the season, we all thought he would be split. The split with him and Kenneth Walker would have been a lot closer to 50-50 than it's been. But with Walker doubtful to play, Charbonnet gets a chance. Now, it is against the 49ers, but with him being the number one guy on a team that likes to run the ball and a decent running game, you take a chance on the talent and see what he can do. Get in the end zone for a touchdown, get you maybe 10 to 12 points. But yeah, if he's available, which he might not be, I know he's not available in dynasty leagues or anything like that. But if he's available in some redraft leagues, try and pick him up, and you may be able to use him because everybody's got injuries. So pick him up if you can.
Yeah, Jamie, any quick comments about Jeff Wilson or Zach?
Yeah, I like both those pickups, especially Charbonnet. I know he said he was going against 49ers, but you can pass to the running backs against the 49ers. I know Jerome Ford had a touchdown. There's a few other games I remember seeing the running back doing decent. But, yeah, I mean, he's most likely owned. I don't think he's available in any of my redraft leagues, but that's because I play in deeper leagues. But if you have like a 5-6 person bench, he's probably out there, man. Right. So go pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I put in a claim for Jeff Wilson tonight because we got Darrell Henderson on the team, and let's just say it's a 6-man bench, and I don't need or 6 or 7. I mean, you can always use a running back just in case, and if I have to start him in week later on, I'll do it. On Zach, I hate that this happened because of this. I don't want to say I was wishing on. No one needs to think that I was like wishing that Walker got hurt. But I think this is where Charbonnet shows who Charbonnet was, what we thought he was going to be maybe not against the Niners, but if he can prove he's decent against the Niners and if Walker's out another week or whatever, Jamie, you know what everyone thought about Charbonnet coming into the season in the dynasty community before he got drafted by the Seahawks. Maybe he can show some of that and bring back some of that value. And who knows what can happen going into next year in startups and in draft and trade value. But Jamie, who is your person?
Yeah, I'm going with Isaiah Likely. He showed last year when Andrews went out that he could be a top 10 option. I believe he was like tight end 2 on one of the weeks. And I know the next week, I think he was tight end 10. Yeah, I know he's out there in almost all your leagues right now. I have a league where I have Goddard out, and I'm been starting Mayer. So I have $30 left in my budget, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to just go out there and just blow it all on Likely just to have him. I mean, I'm not trying to save him for – like I said, I'm in deep leagues too, so there's no one really out there besides a guy like Likely that I'm going to be spending next week or the week after. So I'm putting all the rest of my fab on Likely, and I'm probably just going to start him because, Lamar loves throwing to his tight ends, right?
No matter who it is.
Yep, it doesn't matter who. And Likely does got talent. So there's a reason he's stashed in a bunch of dynasty leagues.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. Definitely worth a pickup. Tight end, like we always talk about, is thin. When you can get a guy as the number one option on a team that likes to throw to the tight ends, is worth a shot.
All right. I don't know if this is breaking news, so I'm going to ask you, Jordan. I haven't seen this all day till just now. Did you see the Luke Musgrave news?
What, man?
It said
I
that he
didn't
went into
see
the
it.
hospital after the game with a lacerated kidney that he played in the whole game with.
I
It
didn't
just
see
came
that.
across the bottom, and I did not know if it was new or not. So it says Luke Musgrave sidelined with a lacerated kidney.
Yeah, well,
Tucker Craft it is.
I need
Tucker
to.
Craft it is on Thursday, folks. So that's my bonus guy. No, and all jokes aside, it is funny that I was going to use him as a bonus just now as a joke because my waiver wire edition of the week is actually a Green Bay Packer. He's owned in 36% of leagues. He is not the wide receiver who was supposed to be the stud this year. That was supposed to be Christian Watson, and that's not happening. Yeah, Kyle, I just saw it on the bottom ticker. I just happened to look up. So I don't know all the details, but it just said that he played with it and then ended up in the hospital after the game. It was on the bottom ticker on ESPN. So Jaden Reed is my player. I know I kind of got sidetracked now that I saw that news. Last week he ended up with 19.7 half point PPR. Week 10, he was 18.4. That was WR11 in both weeks. So he hadn't broken a WR1 category or WR1 week until then. He has two. He had a WR20, a WR32, 36. I think it's on the rise. I think they're going to start using him more. Wicks is getting more run. Reed's getting more run. Dubs, to me, it seems like Watson's going to be not the odd man out where he's not going to play, but it seems like you can't trust him as a Packer fan, real and fantasy. Jaden Reed is one of those guys you might not be able to start might not want to start him right off the bat. There is no bye weeks this week, but there is a bye week in the last week of the regular season of 14 for regular fantasy. McLaurin, Washington's on that. There's a couple other good wide receivers. So go pick up Jaden Reed now and use him later on. I'm going to give it to you first, Jordan. You're the Packer fan. What do you think about Jaden Reed? And you can expand on the Packers wide receiver core in general.
Yeah, for the first time, Jordan Love actually threw for 300 yards, so that was good to see the production being spread out. Dontavian Wicks is playing a lot more than, I guess, for me as somebody who likes Christian Watson, I would like to see. But Jordan Love seems to like him. Every time he's in, they were looking for him. So he's been productive as well. So, I mean, Watson, it seems like he is there when it's time to catch a touchdown. However, the big plays that we would have liked to see that he had chances with Rodgers with just hasn't been there. They're using Reed in different ways. He's getting receptions. He had like 3 or 4 carries this past week for like 30-something yards. So with Aaron Jones being down, that may be something else that they use him to bring more value for him for people who want to play him. I mean, our backup is Patrick Taylor. So it wouldn't surprise me if they put Reed in the backfield a little bit more with A.J. Dillon, just kind of spell him. So, yeah, I like that call, especially with Luke Musgrave missing time as well. He's possibly going on IR. So, the weapons are Aaron Jones out, Musgrave out. So, I mean, it's more Reed, more Dodds, more Wicks, and hopefully more Watson. But that's not something I count on. I think Reed is inching his way up like Jamie said he would at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Jamie, what do you think real quick about Jaden Reed?
You know how I liked Reed this offseason. I was targeting him.
I know. That's why I'm letting you. That's one reason I let you have it last.
I gave you.
Yeah. So, but I also did like Wicks as a deep pickup. I was telling some people in some leagues to grab him too. Just put him on your taxi squad, and I have him in a few taxi squads. So it's good that he's showing up a little bit. But Reed, man, I like him. He plays mostly in the slot, though. So what is he getting? Like 55% of his snaps. And then I think 70% of those snaps are in the slot. So he could play a little bit more, in my opinion. But like I said, he's mostly in the slot. So I would go and see like what team he's playing, see if that team's good against the slot. And if they're not, I mean, you could throw him in as a what the heck flex. Like Mike said, he got like 19 points.
Yeah,
2 weeks in a row.
My big thing is get him now. Get him now and maybe not use them now, but I mean, if you have to, you have to. I mean, there's leagues that we all are in that I'm starting freaking Tank. I mean, there's a league I'm still starting Tank. I'm starting Dearness Johnson. I was starting Tank Bigsby, and now I got Dearness. I don't have a choice. Like, it's just the way cookies crumble these days at the end of the year. But I do think that in some leagues you could use him in the last 2 weeks of bye weeks in 13 and 14. And that's where more of my thought process is, especially the fact that right now he's only owned in 36% of sleeper leagues, started in 9. So that's where I'm going. So tonight was a good show. Before I throw it to the guys for sign-offs, I just want to say gobble, gobble, happy Turkey Day to all, happy Thanksgiving, even happy Thanksgiving to our friends and viewers in the Canada, like Kyle. I know, Kyle, were you happy about the Grey Cup, or was that not your team? I can't remember who your team is. Montreal won the Grey Cup against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Sunday.
I was disappointed.
I just want to say happy Thanksgiving. Jamie, start sign-offs. You're up, my dude.
Yeah, find me on the Twitter X, Jamie Perogue, and then right here every Tuesday, Fancy Cheat Sheet, and Sunday morning for the Going for Two Start Sit show. And
Find me on X at jarsenal89. Cut or keep on goingfor2.com every week. Check it out. And here every Tuesday night.
All right. And so, yeah, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, that is, I guess, Kyle's team. And I think the Grey Cup was in Hamilton this year, but they did not make the East Finals like Kyle said. You know where to find me on the X, on the Instagram for my graphics. I've started making a couple memes lately again. I didn't post on Instagram, but I got one that had, I don't know if you guys saw it. It was the Undertaker meme and AJ Styles, and I put Zach Wilson, and he was being looked at by Tim Boyle. So, yeah, look for that on Friday. Black Friday game, the Jets against the Dolphins. Tim Boyle is the starting quarterback, and Zach Wilson's going to be QB3. Other than that, you know where to find me here on Tuesday Night Fantasy Cheat Sheet. For Jamie, for Jordan, for everyone in the chat, we say thank you, and we say peace out.